when we start the show, forgive me, we got to make fun of Evan for a little bit, so I hope you're cool with that.
All right.
Okay, so I guess we're ready to go, so let's just get a little bit of silence first before we start so I can do my thing here. In the beginning, there was baseball. It is Thursday, June 4th. I am CJ.
Wait, hold on. Take two.
Damn it.
It's so for some reason the camera switched to Evan when you started talking.
I'm making no noise.
Evan, stop existing for a second. Son of a bitch. All right. Take two. Click. In the beginning, there was baseball. It is Thursday,
It just did it again.
In the beginning, there was baseball. It is Thursday, June 4th. I am CJ. I am here with Evan, who might want to re-show his face. He's allowed to be here now, and we got a great guest, one that we're very excited for to have here today. He is Bobby from Outta Here Baseball. His YouTube channel is Outta Here Baseball. He puts on some great stuff. Bobby, how are you doing today, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no problem, man. Evan, how are you doing today?
I'm good. This is 27 Down, perfect podcast for the perfect game.
All right, man. Every single time he says that line, I think he removes more and more syllables from it. I don't know how he does it, but eventually it's going to be per podcast. Never mind. I'm just teasing.
I'm going to stab you in the face when we get back to the studio. You just wait. Come August, you're dead.
This is what I'm good at, Bobby. I don't know if you've listened to us at all, but I'm very, very good at pissing Evan off. Speaking of pissing Evan off, Bobby, you weren't here when we were talking about this, but you know, it's been a running thing where I poke fun at Evan because Evan went to culinary school. Now, Evan just dropped a bomb on us here. Evan, what did you study at culinary school?
Criminal justice.
So, why?
When all else fails, Johnson and Wales.
I hate my life. I actually don't have a segue from that. We got a little bit to talk about today, some baseball related, some non-baseball related. I figure we'll get the baseball stuff going first. Bobby, we got the draft coming up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think?
It's very college dominated this year, and having only 5 rounds, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how stacked next year's draft is, because you're going to see a lot of college players going back to school for their senior year, and then all the high school players who may not have been drafted early, they're going to go off to college now because that's the only safe route to go with no minor league baseball this year.
That's true. Yeah, that's a big factor in that these guys are going to have nowhere to come play immediately. Yeah, I noticed that when I was looking at like the top guys this year, there was really the only guy who really stood out as a high school prospect was Zach Veen. Saw him
right
then. But yeah, you're right. It is very highly college dominated. So the top selectors this year: Tigers, Orioles, Marlins, Royals, Blue Jays. Pretty much the exact teams you expected. However, there's a little interesting dynamic this time in that, like you said, there's only 5 rounds, and you start to actually have this thing where it's like some teams actually are going to benefit from that because they guys like I think the Cardinals, and there was one other team had 7 picks.
I believe the Giants did because they lost Bumgarner.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was Bumgarner and Smith, so they got 2 picks back for them. The Yankees only have 3 with the signing of Garrett Cole, so it's interesting. Any other year, that's like, you know, I mean, it is kind of a big deal anyway, considering once you're out of the first few rounds, there's really not much impact, but you see it. There are plenty of players picked later on that. Right.
It's like a diamond in the rough thing at that point.
Yeah, and you see it a lot. You know, guys like Brett Gardner weren't drafted in the top 10 rounds. I'm talking mostly Yankee stuff right now. We are like just a baseball podcast in general. Would you like to reveal what your allegiance is?
Yes, I'm a Phillies fan.
You're a Phillies fan. Oh, that's
Yep.
nice. Yeah. What do you think of what's going on with the state of the Phillies right now?
You know, we play in a very tough division. I'd probably say it's the most competitive because there's 4 teams that are all within a reasonable shot of winning the division. You know, last year Nationals won the World Series, the Braves were the division winner, and then the Mets. All the projections had them as, you know, second best team in the National League because their bullpen was so bad last season. It was like they can't possibly be that bad again this year. So then the Phillies are just kind of the other team with a couple stars, probably the weakest of the 4, but there's still a good chance. Got Joe Girardi now as leadership, so I hope he'll do good there.
I'm gonna just offer you a bit of advice. Our producer Joe is a Mets fan, so if you wanna save the annoying parts where he comes out of hiding and does annoying stuff, the advice is you say as few nice things about the Mets as possible. And more bad things you say about them, the more gold stars you get.
No, I have no hate. I've been to a
The
game.
Mets are a joke.
Philly's a good time.
I do think that the Phillies are better than what they were last year. I mean, you can't have that level of talent on offense and be the team that you were. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're better than the Mets.
They've added a couple pieces. I mean, they got Didi. He's not terrible. I think he's going to have a pretty solid season. I know I'm going to miss him.
That makes me sad too. Let's go back to the draft real quick. That was a little bit of a segue. Are we going to see a first baseman get picked number 1 overall?
I definitely think Andrew Torkelson is the best hitter in the draft. You know, not just power, but contact as well. And I've read a lot of reports that he's been really focusing on defense too. Because, I mean, he's not the fastest runner, but, I mean, he could be an okay first baseman to where he can stick at the position and not have to be a designated hitter. So,
do you think that there's any chance that maybe the Tigers wouldn't go after him based on the lack of versatility that there could eventually be further down the line, and maybe go for a guy like, I don't know, Lacey, who's probably the top pitcher that you could pick? Do you think that first base lack of versatility there would scare the Tigers at all?
You know, since Tigers are American League and they had the DH, I see no reason why not to pursue him. I mean, the other position player is Austin Martin, who's more of who can play multiple positions, play outfield, play some third base, maybe even second base. So there's upside there too, but I think the Tigers definitely need that power bat. I mean, they had no power last season. And as a college hitter, he could be impacting the major league lineup, you know, 2022 opening day starting first baseman.
That's true. Yeah, it's a good point. He is older. Yeah, you're right. He could be someone that, because MLB draft is so interesting in that there are plenty of time. Like pretty much every other league is like, what do we need right now? And in baseball, that's the worst possible way that you can go about drafting. Mm-hmm. And those high school guys and the international guys are like 5 or 6 years away. Whereas the college guys, they're ready in a couple years. Evan, any input on the draft? Knowing you probably ate hot dogs all day instead of actually looking up any information on the draft.
Yeah, fuck you. I have my notes right here, dickhead.
This is what I do, Bobby. This is what I do.
He does it all the time, and I'm about to lose my fucking mind. You're gonna hear an epic rant. Settle down, buddy.
I twist the knife until I can't twist any further. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went over it, and this draft seems like it's pretty stacked in catcher, pitcher, and outfield. And I know the Diamondbacks are interested in all of those. I know the Yankees are too. We're always looking for a catcher. We have the 28th pick, I believe, so we might try to use it on one of the catchers. I think I saw 3 or 4 pretty solid ones.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, the Yankees, it is kind of an organizational need in that they are hollow on catcher, but at the same time, I still think they're just going to take whoever. The Yankees have like this strategy, it seems, where they're always going to go for the guys that are just a couple of years out with their first pick. They tend to go high school heavy in later picks, but we'll see what happens now that they're not going to have those later picks in the draft. I think all they have is 1, 2, 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be interesting. Bobby, you had actually made a video about the Diamondbacks recently.
Yes.
Why don't you? It was a pretty positive video in terms of where it seemed that they were going. What do you think about where they're headed?
Right. So they had Paul Goldschmidt running out of his contract, had 1 year left. So then they traded him after losing Corbin and AJ Pollock in free agency, and then team was like pretty average, like right around 500 the entire season, and then traded away Zach Greinke. I was actually in New York that game, first time at Yankee Stadium, because I live in North Carolina right now. So Zach Greinke was pitching on the trade deadline. There's a rain delay, and then he gets traded. And I was like, that was the last time I got to see him pitch. So it was pretty cool. But looking at what they got in return for him, a lot of high upside, but also high risk prospects with Seth Beer. Believe he won the Dick Hauser Trophy as like one of the top college hitters a couple years ago out of Clemson.
Which is the best possible award with the best possible name.
Yes.
I'm a big fan.
But they had a lot of their top prospects are all around single A level right now. So they're still a few years away from the major leagues. But then from the Greinke trade and the Goldschmidt trade, they got a lot of people that are almost ready to impact the major league roster. So there's just a lot of prospects right now. And they have a good major league core right now. Ketel Marte obviously had a great season last year. They got Starling Marte this offseason. Now you got him Bumgarner, potential to be an ace pitcher, probably more of like a 2 or 3 at this point. He's hasn't been that level for a little bit. But the money is spread out more to more players instead of having the huge Greinke contract or potential huge Goldschmidt and Corbin contracts. So they're set up for long-term success, which is something you couldn't say about them when they were still competitive like 2 years ago and made the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely not when they made that dumb Shelby Miller trade.
Oh, yes. One of the worst.
Yeah.
They just got Cole Calhoun, too, didn't they?
Right. That's a really good pick that I forgot about. I think he won the Gold Glove Award 2 years ago, and he's not a bad power hitter either.
I've heard he's also a pretty silent leader in the clubhouse, so that might be pretty helpful for you guys.
Yeah.
How about another? I would say my favorite video of yours that I've watched so far was the one about Bo Bichette. How do you feel about him going forward? Does he? I mean, it's obvious that he's not going to hit 5 million doubles in his career. But
right.
What level of sustainability do you see in his game?
Yeah, so he has more offensive upside than most shortstops would have. He's going to be the type to he's going to hit a bunch of doubles, even if it's not like he did when he first came up. It was just ridiculous. But even the home runs, even if the juice ball, like we're going to see a reduction in home runs. Hopefully, not seeing everyone hit 30 next season or whenever we have a full season again. But there's chance that he may not even stick at shortstop. Like he can move over to second base. I don't see him moving to third. But, he's a solid all-around player, probably the most complete player out of any of the Blue Jays prospects, especially that second-generation group with Vlad and Kevin Biggio. Mm-hmm. Probably has the least holes in his game. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I remember I let out several curse words per Blue Jays game, mostly because of him. He is such a terror. I haven't had fits for a player ever since the Red Sox had Pedro Siriaco. You remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
That annoying ass who would hit like 320, but against the Yankees, it's like he was Willie Mays all over again. I don't understand. And that exactly is a testament for how good Bichette is. I'm not calling them similar tooled players, but what I am saying is that they are. He's that same level of just you cannot get rid of him. You just can't. It seems like every time he comes up, he's burning you in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he has a lot of ways to hurt you because he's like pretty good runner. decent enough fielder, and obviously with the bat, it's not just the power. Like he can hit, pure and simple.
Yeah. What do you think, Evan?
I agree.
All right.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna go eat some more like pigs in a blanket? This guy comes on before we're on the air, and he shows us his plate of pigs in a blanket. How are those coming along?
Pigs in a blanket?
Nice.
Yeah. Evan's favorite food is hot dogs, Bobby.
That's not true.
He eats 5 per day.
It's a lot.
That's not true at all. It's like 5 every other day.
That's still a lot. You understand this, right?
Yeah.
Let's move on, shall we? We're actually gonna let's talk a little bit of NBA. I know, Bobby, you said that you kind of know basketball. You're not like a huge fan, but
I mean, I don't really follow the league as much, but with all of the leagues starting up again, having plans in place, I've looked to see how they're enacting things to see, with baseball, if and when it comes back, what are they going to do compared to these leagues?
right. Yeah, so basically NBA's plan is that 22 teams, so basically the 16 that seem to be playoff bound, plus I guess it would be that 6 more that were either right there or not. I mean, I'm not entirely sure how I think they said it's 8 games that they're going to do before the actual playoffs start.
That's correct.
And that there's going to be a battle for the 8th seed to see who is going to make the playoffs.
No.
And it's like some tournament.
Guess who's not going to make the playoffs? The fucking Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, Evan, you knew that in 2 years ago you knew that.
I was going to say
they're never going to
2008.
get better.
Yeah. What? Well, I mean, why would they? Honestly, I'd like to see them make it as part of the 22 because we need that kind of entertainment in our lives. Watch the
After Starberry and Steve Francis left.
Hey! Listen, they were good in 2012.
Yeah,
True.
the Tracy McGrady trade, brilliant.
Was it earlier than that when they had Amare? Oh,
Amare and Mello and that squad. Yeah, they were good. The Pacers team, the team that lost to the Pacers, that was up on the Pacers, right?
They were up, and then Carmelo Anthony got stuffed by Roy Hibbert. That was garbage.
Yeah, that was 2012. That was 2012. I was at a wedding in Florida, and we were like, yeah, we're up. And then it just, the next 3 days, we just lost every game.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that this is going to kind of be a barometer for how other leagues are going to do it. But at the same time, it's not entirely comparable considering how close the NBA was to the end. So the NBA is just trying to finish the last 10% of their season.
Yeah, I know NHL, they're enacting something similar. I think it's 24 teams in the playoffs.
That's correct.
Playing at a couple different stadiums.
That's insane. That's actually crazy that's going to happen.
Hockey's going to be so much fun. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. It's only a few more teams than they already had make the playoffs, but yeah, this is going to be one for the ages. This playoff.
Well, they have to take advantage of this time frame thing because you're taking baseball away during their peak summertime and you're giving it to 2 other sports. What if NBA really likes this time frame and says we don't want to play on Christmas anymore, and now they play during the summer, and that could screw baseball for the rest of the future or whatever,
I hope not. I
hope not either, but
Bobby, tell us more about your YouTube channel, man. Tell us more about what is it that I see a lot of statistical analysis in there. So I figured you're kind of like me in that you're very stats forward.
Yeah, I mean, I majored in stats in college. And,
there you go.
Yeah, so I always loved. No, not quite culinary school. But I've always been more into the number side of things. But I at least played baseball all the time up until I went to college, and so I understand the human side of the game too. And it's not just a game that's played on spreadsheets or anything. So I think the more that I've made videos, I try to not just focus on stats and, try to incorporate some elements of, the human side of things. Like the one I'm doing right now that's going to come out, I guess, Friday or Saturday of this week is on Brandon Webb, also from the Diamondbacks.
Oh, yeah.
But career just cut short by injuries, just repeated shoulder surgeries. And, there's a mental aspect to that. That just wears you down. 4 years of trying to come back. Former Cy Young winner. Could have been so, maybe not Hall of Fame level, but, a person that when the Hall of Fame comes around, you're talking about him because he had a notable career.
Yeah.
So, obviously, stats are great, but understanding that it is a game, these are human beings that are playing. It's an interesting sport, and, baseball, love it till the end of time. Even if the current state of Major League Baseball right now is kind of worrisome for me.
Do you think that this is going to do you think that this whole issue is going to affect the game in a long run perspective?
I really hope not, but the longer that it's taken for players and owners to just reach an agreement with how the season is going to play out, a bit concerning for labor talks going forward. I hope that we do see baseball this season, but then there's talks that this could jeopardize things for 2021 as well, when things could be, somewhat normal, see a full season. Yeah, it's definitely concerning.
My biggest concern is attendance. My biggest concern is, what if, even if we're like a year or two removed from this, what if people still go, man, something just creeps me out about going to a thing with that many people packed closely together like that.
And that's going to happen. I think that's a very realistic thing that's going to happen. I know I'm not comfortable going anytime soon, and I know a lot of people are going to feel the same way.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I would still go. I don't care if I got to put on a mask. Like, nothing's going to keep me away from the game, but it's not about us. And baseball is one of those things where they do rely on the casual fan coming out and just doing the ballpark experience, and people just aren't going to want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about how many games MLB plays in one season, and you have to fill up the stadium at least like halfway for most of those games. That's just so much revenue lost, considering how much they do rely on the fans coming to the ballpark.
I can hear the confusion in Joe's head right now because he hasn't seen a Mets game that sold out halfway in years. So he's probably thinking, "What the hell are you talking about halfway?"
No, we sell out in August when we go on our 10-game run.
Please, the only thing you sell out is the parking lot.
We sell out Fridays through Sundays in August when we get hot.
Yeah, and let's not forget like April when you start off like 15-3.
Yeah, and then we go 1-20. Balanced. We're balanced. We're fair and balanced.
Yeah, anyway, but to get back to the point, I'm with you in that I really hope that we don't see some kind of just a lack of desire to A, go out to the game, or B, like you even mentioned, Bobby, just the ramifications this could have on agreements between the union and the owners going forward.
Yeah, I feel there's probably going to be a lockout coming up with the next CBA. I also think that if you lose drastic numbers of the casual fans, a lot of those people aren't going to come back. And if they do, it's going to take time. I know when I lost interest in hockey, it took me about 2 or 3 years to give hockey a chance again. That's just because I didn't think about it. And I played hockey for 10 years. So I think if you lose a bunch of those casual fans, it's going to be pretty bad for attendance rates and everything else.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Well,
I mean, that's a good point because, me as a hardcore fan, assuming you guys are more on the hardcore side of following baseball, like, we're not going to think about it as much, but, friends and family who just like, oh, yeah, I'll go to a game every now and again, like, oh, how are the Yankees doing? Then check back in like a month. I mean, I live in North Carolina, so we don't have a major league team here, but we have a lot of minor league teams. So then the talks about cutting minor league teams, just the drastic reorganization, that's definitely going to affect us here.
Oh, for sure.
Do you think North Carolina should get a team?
I mean, obviously, I'd love to see a team in like the Raleigh area. or I guess Charlotte's probably the bigger of the two. But, both areas have a really great AAA stadium. Charlotte Knights is nice right in downtown, and then the Durham Bulls that's really an experience there. They have the Blue Monster in left field, and it's just the area around it. It's got this nice brick aesthetic to it. Reminds me a lot of Camden.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm jealous of, because up here in New York City, I mean, we've got the Brooklyn Cyclones. So first of all, that's a single A team, and that's cool, I guess. I'd like to see some higher level minor league teams. Plus, the Cyclones are the Mets minor league, so I come out of that with herpes every time I play. I wish that there was more of because other than them, the closest team that I could go see that's a higher level minor league team might be all the way out in Trenton.
Yeah.
So I'm not about to drive to Trenton just to go to a baseball game. So that's definitely the one thing that's missing up here that a lot of parts of the country gets the benefit from. I'm jealous, Bobby, that you're able to do the minor league experiences off.
Yeah, that was just the AAA teams. We got tons of single A teams here, and then some teams in the rookie level Appalachian League. That's here too.
I had the Pawtucket Red Sox in college. That was a fun experience for sure.
Oh, when you were learning how to cook? I mean, how to prosecute.
Yeah. Thanks. So, Bobby, you're a Phillies fan. How did that happen? And my grandma was a Phillies fan, and she hated Scott Rowland. Do you hate Scott Rowland too?
I was too young to see him play for the Phillies, because my first memory was him with the Cardinals, and I found out, he was a Rookie of the Year with the Phillies. Had no clue. I don't have hard feelings towards him. But
okay, cool.
I lived in South Jersey, that's where I was born. So we were about 20 minutes away from Philadelphia. And then I moved to North Carolina when I was 7.
Okay.
Gotcha. By the way, how dare your grandmother?
Yep.
How dare she hate a man who should have made the Hall of Fame in his first ballot?
I literally can't tell you a player who she liked. All I heard her complain about everyone. She was worse than me, bro.
Sounds like a Phillies fan.
Yeah, seriously, she hated everyone. Every coach they had. Oh man, it was terrible.
You guys better appreciate Joe Girardi, because I'm jealous. I am like the jealous ex.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think the welcome so far has been pretty warm, because not many people are a fan of Gabe Kapler.
Yeah, I don't blame you guys.
He's the worst.
Awful. Yeah, he was pretty rough, but he's pretty good looking. Hey, Joe usually has some questions when we have special guests on, right, Joe?
No, I don't.
God damn it, Joe!
Well, I told you I was going to get my food because I forgot about you guys.
You even prepared for this job?
Today I did not.
Son of a bitch. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, I got nothing. Sorry, guys. I love you guys, though.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I love us too.
Yeah, we're pretty good.
I think that's all we've got. Unless Bobby, there's anything else you'd like to talk about?
Just want to give one shout out to a player that's going to be drafted probably first round, hopefully first round. Bryce Jarvis from Duke University. Obviously North Carolina, so I get to hear about him more often than most people. But he threw a perfect game in the brief time that we had this spring. It was against Cornell, but still, perfect game, 15 strikeouts. Hopefully will be the next first-round pick. Second one in Duke's history after Marcus Stroman.
Oh, nice.
Stroman!
If he ends up being anything like Marcus Stroman, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I'm blocked by Marcus Stroman on Twitter. He hates me.
That's true. Yeah, Marcus Stroman blocked Evan. Yeah.
I'm also blocked by John Heyman.
Yeah, and he was blocked by David Wells for 2 days.
Dang.
Yeah, because David Wells can't read.
Bobby, you don't know the lore of the Rant Man. You don't know Evan's power to just have anyone he wants block him at any time. It's truly there should be a Marvel comic written about him.
You know what else I'm really good at doing? I'm good at being friends with someone, then making them my mortal enemy, and doing it in reverse. I've had mortal enemies be my good friends. It's terrible.
Bobby, I promise that's not going to happen with you. All right, buddy.
All right,
It was No, it was great. Thank you so much for coming on. Once again, everybody, that YouTube channel is Outta Here Baseball. If you like baseball in any capacity, and hey, you're listening to us, so I bet you do, you gotta go check it out. It's
and
great.
follow him on Twitter. We got to get that growing for him as well.
Yeah. What's your handle? Is it just Outta Here Baseball?
It's Outta Here B-ball, because you can't fit all the letters in. But.
Got it. Okay, so Outta Here B-ball. Give him a follow on Twitter too. Bobby, man, thank you so much for coming.
This was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
This is 27 Down, the perfect podcast for the perfect game. See you guys on Tuesday.
Man, Evan actually.